good evening. Oh. Hopefully everybody should be able to hear me now. I think I've been talking for God knows how long, and I've been on mute and not in the party chat. So fantastic start here this evening. But yeah, great way to start the night. Good evening everybody, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SimPlay Motorsport. My name's Dan Davis, and I'm bringing you live action here at the famous Nürburgring for the penultimate round of the season. As you can see, it is wet weather conditions, and it is very, very wet at this circuit. Currently, the track temperature as well is very low. We are very cold. We're very wet here, but we are coming to the end of the PS4 Championship, and thank God we will be over the horizon soon and back to PS5, as we will be hopefully giving you some better camera angles. Excuse me. But like I said, welcome to the Nürburgring, obviously famously known all over around the world for motorsport, and the home of Mercedes-Benz. Currently no Mercedes-Benz here tonight. The only German manufacturer is leading the way, the Audi, and also the BMW of Smoky Devil. Only 10 cars here at the minute, but hopefully we will get a few more into the session. But if you haven't done so, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to be notified so you don't miss anything here at SimPlay Motorsport. But the Nürburgring, I just did a whole thing around and just, you know, I was muted the whole time, which doesn't help, so all the information I did just give out was completely pointless. But Max Verstappen is the only thing that I can remember off the top of my head. He owns the lap record around the circuit in the RB16 2020. And definitely an interesting night's worth of racing ahead of us. As you can see in these wet conditions, the Audi of Ripper is looking very, very good at this stage. But speaking of Ripper, he is still leading the championships with 526 points to his name. He is only 30 points ahead of his closest and only rival overtaker in second place position. He's on 496. We then go to Peaceful Explosion sitting in P3 with Matimovic not here tonight in P4, nor is Gary 131 at this stage, but hopefully should be in a little bit later on. But we do have also Tech Leader in P6. Great opportunity to try and score some decent points and get ahead of the boys. As he currently sits in that P6 position. P7 is Jay at this current stage, and he's looking very good at the minute. Currently a second off the pace of Ripper at the moment out on track. And yeah, Jay currently P7. Nexus sitting in that P8 position. No Nexus. Yeah, he is. There he is at the bottom of the pack with the Jaguar. Currently P8 at the minute with Exit Tibbs. Currently P9 in the championship. Fury dropping all the way down to P10. Euro is P11. Smoky Devil is in P12. Paulo in 13th. Louis Allen in 14th. And Blava in 15th. And Wolfinator in 16th place position. Regarding the constructors, there's only 4 still up for the championship. Teletalk Motorsport still leads the way with Jaeger Motorsport in second, Killer Performance in P3, and the Flying Potato still hanging in there in P4. Regarding SimPlay Racing, they are out of the Constructors Championship and P5 at the minute with Titan Euro in P6, Hot Wheels Racing in P7, and JWB Esports Racing at the back of the pack. Bentley have won the Constructors from Audi, Ferrari, Honda, McLaren, Porsche, Aston Martin, Lexus, Jaguar, BMW, Lamborghini, Mercedes, and Nissan, and Retia. That is your championship standings. And regarding tonight's race, obviously these guys run a format here tonight where these guys will be Doing a sprint race to start things off, which is a reverse championship order. And that is going to be... Sorry, just checking my ping minute, because my ping tends to just have a little spammy every now and then. So regarding the order tonight, it will be Wolfinator if he turns up on pole position, then Plava in second, Paulo style P3, Smoky Devil will be P4, P5 will be Tibbs, P6 will be Nexus, P7 will be Tech Leader, P8 will be Gary 131, P9 will be Peaceful, Overtaker in 10th, and then Ripper at the back. So like I said, good evening to everybody in the chat. Let's hear from you. But it is Ripper who's currently fastest at the minute. He's got quite a comfortable gap over Jay at the minute, who's a second faster. Let's have a look at the times. So Ripper currently finding 6/10 in sector 1, and then a full, I think that's about, yeah, another 6/10 just in sector 2. And Jay again slower in the final sector as well. So I'm not sure how. It's only a 10th in the final sector, so that's where all that time is going. But Jay really looking like the only threat tonight, and looks like Ripper has got sector 1 hooked up and sector 2. No one else really matching him, but the final sector as well. There's a couple of people close to him, but nothing really lighting up the timetables. Overtaker currently sitting P3 at the minute with Tech Leader in P4. P5 is the way of Tibbs. P6 is the way of Paulo. 7th is Peaceful, who's not feeling too well this evening, so we'll see how he gets on this evening. Smoky Devil currently P8, and Bravo sitting in P9, and Nexus bringing up the rear in his Jaguar. So guys, if you haven't done so, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to be notified so you do not miss anything here at SimPlay Motorsport. Sunday night will be the PS5 League once again returning to the channel, as we will be heading to we've just done Donington Park, we'll be heading to Snetterton the next round of the season, also another night race as well. As Nexus goes into turn 1 and tries to get a good run through the tight, twisty section of the Mercedes arena. So like I said, if you haven't done so, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and have a look in the description below as well, because our two fantastic sponsors, Design Manchester and Audio Sports, links are below. So go and have a look at their websites, their social medias, and all of those wonderful things to get your chance to get some new gifts ready for Christmas, engraved gifts, clothing, and personalized products from Design Manchester, and also from Audio Sport, some T4, T5 audio solution styling for your vans, your Volkswagen vans. So have a look at both of their channels and social media and do all those wonderful things for them. And if you do want to be a part of the racing here at SimPlay Motorsport, then please head over to the Sim Grid. Oh, as Nexus has a moment through the gravel. Yeah, head over to the Sim Grid to get yourself signed up. As like I said, the PS5 will be where we'll be making our new home. The PS4 has decided to not work on cameras and is just terrible. So we will be moving to the PS5 next season. And I'm hoping sometime in the horizon, maybe we'll be heading over to the PC as well. But don't quite quote me on that one. And over the Christmas period, we will try and get as much events on as we possibly can, so that you boys and girls can keep racing, keep having fun, and enjoying all the racing here at SimPlay Motorsport. But in the new year, we'll be having our brand new season. We'll have brand new cars. We might have brand new faces, or even returning faces. You'll never know, but it's going to be an exciting time as SimPlay moves itself to the PS5, and will slowly be expanding in the ACC world. As Gary 121 now is in the session in his Porsche. Did a fantastic job on the Sunday night race at Donington Park, just losing out to Fury right at the very end. As we go on board with Tibbs, currently 5th at the minute, as Jay will have to not participate in race 1. and he'll also have a qualifying ban for race 2. He's collected quite a few penalty points. This is what happens when the drivers are naughty. They collect penalty points, they make mistakes, they have issues, and next thing you know, they are in trouble. And our stewards do a fantastic job of keeping on top of that one. I'm interested to know in the chat, what kind of things would like to see here at SimPlay Motorsport? We're talking about possibly some endurance races maybe on the horizon. All the guys in the chat have an opportunity at the minute to give their feedback and decide. Obviously, this is run by the drivers pretty much. It is run by everyone here in the Discord. So it's down to them what they want to see and what they want done on the channel, so we can give the best racing, the best experience they possibly can here at SimPlay Motorsport. So, like I said, to the drivers who are listening and watching this stream, head over to the Discord page and go and have a look at your feedback and decide what you want to see or see get changed here at SimPlay Motorsport, so that you can have the best experience here on the channel. I have seen a couple of suggestions at the minute where there is suggested feedback. So we do have 24-hour format races. We keep the PS4 alive, as some of them do like the PS4. And someone wanting a GT3 and GT4 championship that is mixed. So half the grid would be GT3s, half the grid would be GT4s. So that could be an interesting championship. Also with the slower and faster cars all trying to go one another, would be an interesting race. Obviously endurance races has been the top conversation. But obviously, like I said, it all depends whether or not it is on the PS4 or the PS5 version. It would more likely be on the PS5 because you can do driver swaps on that one. But like I said, guys, get your opinions on what you would like to see here and how you would like to get yourself involved here on the channel. So, we've currently got 5 minutes left of this session. And Jay at the minute currently sitting P3 now, as Overtaker has gone faster, but it is Ripper who sets the pace at the minute, with Overtaker in second, Jay currently third, Tibbs in fourth, fifth is Tech Leader, sixth is Paulo, seventh is Peaceful Explosion, Smoky Devil is in eighth, ninth is Emprava, Nexus is P10, and Gary 131 bringing up the rear as Nexus just leaves pit lane. But Jay has seemed to have found his form at the minute here in the pro category. Really been putting a threat in these sprint races. Been looking very good when he starts near the front of the pack and the others having to work their way through. It's going to be very difficult for the guys at the back of the pack to work their way through. It is a very tight circuit, but there are overtaking opportunities here. There's quite a few, and it's very easy for other cars to make mistakes. As we will do a lap with Jay, hopefully he will do the complete lap. Like I said, a very, very tricky circuit to get right, and obviously with these wet conditions as well, it's going to make it even more difficult as he heads over to the chicane. And we'll go into the final corner as we will start a lap here with Jay. As he heads down the main straight, you want to make sure you get a good exit out of the final corner and head down the straight. BMW Empower Bridge over the top of you as you then head down towards turn one. In the wet conditions, you want to be aiming just before the 100-meter board, braking down all the way to first gear as you head into the first corner. Make sure you don't miss the apex like Jay has done. Run a little bit wide, but try and get yourself to cut right up to the right-hand side to open up turn two. As you head over turn two, try and avoid the curb as much as possible because they will be slippy, and then you want to give a little dart down towards turn three. Very tricky corner to get right. Carry too much speed and the car will run wide just like that as you then swing yourself into turn four. You're compromising your run. So Jay there making a little few mistakes as he goes through turn four. Headed down towards turn five. Spot the braking zone. The service road is probably your best bet, and then down a couple of gears, maybe one. Keep the car secure as you want to stay right to the left-hand side to open up this next corner. Down towards turn six, heading towards turn seven, the hairpin. And again, you want to kind of double apex the corner, V shape. As you brake just after that service road, hit the apex on the inside, let the car run wide to then sling yourself out of the hairpin and then up towards the famous Schumacher Estes, where Lewis Hamilton had a massive accident back in 2007, I believe. and he was a bit wounded after that one. But through the Schumacher Estes, through 7 and 8, down towards 9, and you want to just brake just at the end of the service road at 100-meter board, drop down 2 gears, try not to run the curbs too much again. They are very slippery, as you can see. Jay having to be cautious as he goes through 10, and again being cautious. Very tricky corner to get right. Late apex here and try and get a good run down towards 11. In the dry, you could take this corner flat. Some of the drivers may have been lifting, but Jay, he is flat. He's even taking some curb up towards 11 and 12, braking at the 100-meter board. And try not to run too much curb. Make sure you hit the first apex, hit the second apex, get a good run through there, and up towards the final hairpin. Run a little bit wide to get yourself a slingshot out of the final corner and to deliver yourself a lap time around the Nürburgring. And across the line he comes with no improvement. But nonetheless, that was a run in the Ferrari around this fantastic circuit. And you see there, tech leader able to abuse the curbs a little bit more there. 4 tenths separating these two at this minute. Good friends, teammates as well. As most of the guys are trying to get these few on track, trying to get the most of the conditions while they can. Understand there, the rain is meant to be easing. We've got Peaceful now coming up to the chicane, and the Honda seem to be struggling here. Bar Tibbs, he seemed to be finding the pace, but still 2.2 seconds off the pace, so struggling to get a real good lap time around here. As Peaceful exits the final corner, he comes to the line. Any improvement? No, he does not. But Ripper at the minute looking quite comfortable with those lap times at the minute. 2:02.3. Smoky Devil comes up to the chicane. Took a lot of speed into the chicane there, probably a little bit too much, and that's the other issue these guys are going to have, is pit entry. As you can see, it comes straight at you out the exit, and they can't cross the white line either. Obviously they can cross the dashed white line. Hopefully one of the boys will be able to give me a demonstration as they come to the pits. But there is a, I believe it's a dashed white line. As I'm just re-watching the stream back so I can get my facts right before I say them. Yeah, there's a dashed, well, there's a line that comes up to the right-hand side. The single white line they could cross so they can get to the pit lane, but as soon as they come to the red and white curb, they cannot cross that red and white curb. They have to be within pit lane by that point, or it could be a penalty coming their way, as tech leader now returns to the pits. And it's just Peaceful Explosion left out on track, as that is the end of practice. Some of the boys now are going live on their channels, and if you are a part of the Discord, head over to the driver streams and you can see all these guys on boards and see how they are getting on here tonight. As that'll be the end of practice, we will then have a short 1-minute qualifying session, so that normally so I can change cameras, but return to the pits and everything, but that doesn't happen now. So here comes Peaceful Explosion up towards the chicane. And you can see there, right hand side of the circuit, he needs to be within that white and red curb being the pit lane. And then towards the start finish line he comes. I don't think he'll improve. He did not. So it was Ripper who was fastest after that session. And a reminder of the grid order for the reverse grid. So no Wolfinator, so we will not have him on track. So it will be M. Plava who will start on pole position. And then it'll be Paulo starting in second. Third will be Smoky Devil. Fourth will be Tibbs. Fifth will be Nexus. Sixth will be Tech Leader. Seventh will be Gary 1318. Eighth will be Peaceful Explosion. Ninth will be Overtaker. And 10th will be Ripper. J will have to stay in pit lane or leave the session. It's up to him what he wants to do. If he leaves the session, he gets a bit more practice time, and if he wants to set it up. But he cannot race one, and he cannot do qualifying for race 2, as he is serving a qualifying and race ban after collecting so many penalty points. But guys, let's hear you in the chat. Let's get all the support from these boys. They're the penultimate round of the season. And who is going to come out on top here tonight? And I will get a poll going for you guys. winner of race 1. Let's see who you think is going to win this one. And again, I'm going to base it off probably the top couple of drivers. So we'll go with...
Watch out for curbs and exit, and remember to brake early.
You see there all the drivers' engineers giving them the in-depth detail that they need to know before they get going for this race here tonight. In the pro category here this evening, who is going to be the one to beat tonight? That is the question. Can Overtaker continue his winning streak after Suzuka? And there is the poll for you guys. Ladies and gentlemen, get on voting who you think is going to win this one. And already one person voting for Ripper. They think that Ripper is going to win this one from the back of the pack. He's looking very, very fast at this stage of the practice session. As they will get their last few things done to their cars. Hopefully they
20 seconds.
Won't make the same mistake I made last night. I don't know if it was a mistake. As we're still waiting for Jay, he obviously will return to pit lane. Everyone else should be ready to go. My car will soon disappear as well. So myself and Jay will be returning back to pit lane. Hopefully Jay has. Yes, he has. So it will be Embrava will start on pole position, with Paulo will be starting alongside him in the McLaren. Then it should be the BMW of Smoky Devil in P3. He's got to work his way up the order a little bit more, as it will then be Exit Tibbs behind him as it is. Tech Leader has to work his way back, which he is doing. Then it will be Nexus behind Tibbs. And then it'll follow by Tech Leader. So Tech Leader just needs to drop behind Nexus like so. Then it'll be Gary 131, followed by a Peaceful Explosion, Overtaker, and then finally your championship leader and defending champion Ripper at the front of the grid. 67% of you reckon that Embrava is now going to win this race, as he does start on pole position. He's got a great opportunity to score some decent points here. 3 votes so far, so guys, come on, get your votes in, get your support in for these guys, as we are coming down to the final end of this season. 1 round left to go after tonight. We head to Italy in Misano for the final race of the season. And what a season it has been. PS4 has done us proud, has done us a heck of a job trying to move us from Project Cars 2. We have now moved to ACC, and now we're moving to PS5 version as well. There may still be some form of PS4 events on, we just do not know at the minute. Probably won't be streamed, but either way, there will be events still going on. And just a reminder of the fantastic circuits and tracks and events that we have been through this season. 1 more round still to go, but we have been to the South Africa circuit of Kyalami at the very first race of the season. And then we went to Italy twice, starting at Monza, and then went to the famous Imola for round 2 and 3. Then we went to the home of Nexus. Round 4, we went to Hungary at the Hungaroring. And then we went back to British soil, starting at Donington Park. And the only time we would come to British soil with a very dramatic wet race there we had. Then we went down under to Bathurst, Mount Panorama in Australia for round 6 of the season. Then we went to the United States, the home of the Exit Tibbs, round 7 of the season at Laguna Seca. Then we went to the land of the rising sun. Last week out, we went to Suzuka, round 8 of the season. We are now here home of a majority of the manufacturers, Audi, BMW, Mercedes, and much more. BMW, I think I missed a couple more out. Porsche, a lot of manufacturers home race here at the Nürburgring here in Germany, and we will finish things off the 3rd and final time in Italy at Misano for the final race of the season. A circuit that most of these drivers will not know unless they're pure ACC fans, but Ripper and Overtaker already trying to get in one another's head as they try to line up side by side as they come up to The penultimate round of the season, round 17, the sprint race here at Nürburgring, is Ripper from the back of the pack against Overtaker. 30 points separating these two. And we're still 142 points up for grabs. Anything is still possible here this evening. But it's Emprava with Paulo starting on the front row. Honda versus McLaren. Who is going to be in the best position for the start of this race as they all line up one another? The only night race this season, and it's wet. We're here at the Pro. The race has been initialized, and we will be green here at the Nürburgring. And it looks like Exit Tips had a very good start from the front of the pack, but it is Smoky Devil who's looking to split the front row and try and stick his nose in, but he's hit Emprava. Smoky Devil has caused all sorts of contact, but Emprava has made the corner, so has Tibbs. Who is that up the inside? As Overtaker managed to negotiate, he has managed to clear most of the cars, but Gary's had a snap. He's gone round and taken out Smoky Devil with him. Ripper, meanwhile, has gone with Overtaker, while everyone else has been involved in some form of incident. Gary, the biggest loser out of all that, as Nexus drops down the order. There's Peaceful as well, going side by side with him, but Ripper already hustling the back of the Bentley of Overtaker, and he will not want to be stuck behind that Bentley for too long. Overtaker's got a big job of just covering Ripper off, no matter what he does. Not focused on the top two, he needs to keep Ripper behind him. Meanwhile, Tibbs with a fantastic start to this race, and Brava probably carrying a little bit of rear wing damage, possibly bumper damage as well from the contact from Smoky Devil at the start of this race. But it is Emprava, the Latvian, leading from the USA driver of Tibbs. And then we've got Overtaker in third, Ripper in fourth, Nexus in fifth, Peaceful is in sixth. 7th is Tech Leader, Smoky Devil in 8th, Paulo is in 9th, and Gary 131 struggling at the minute at the back of the pack. But Tibbs looking very good in his Honda, but he's now got the Bentley and the Audi of Overtaker and Ripper right on the rear wing of the two Hondas as they head towards the final sector here. And what a interesting start to this session already, as Overtaker looks to try and capitalize on the two struggling Hondas right now. The pack is all still relatively close. The big gap at the minute is Nexus to Ripper at the minute, but Overtaker looking at the two Hondas at the minute, being cautious. Emprava probably braking a little bit later, a little bit more confident on the brakes as he's lost the rear. He's caught it though. Very good catch there from Emprava. He needs to catch it together, and he does. Tibbs gets the undercut, switches underneath. A beautiful move there as Overtaker opts to pit straight away with Ripper as well. So your championship contenders are straight into the pits. Nexus is gone, but it's Tibbs versus Emprava as they head towards turn 1. And Tibbs would love to get into the lead of this race. Emprava tries to brake later. He's got to turn for the corner, and Tibbs is there. He's got the inside, and he's cleared the nose of Emprava. Exit Tibbs now leads the race here at the Nürburgring. Few other drivers into the pit, Smoky Devil as well. Gary 131 and Paulo all still at the back of the pack, but it is Exit Tibbs now leading this race from Nexus, from Peaceful, from Tech Leader, and your pit lane runners are Overtaker, Ripper, Smoky Devil, and Gary 131. So pretty much half of the grid already into the pits. Can Emprava do anything about Tibbs? He's right on the rear wing, so you could possibly use Tibbs as a guidance now with braking zones and lines, so it might help him improve his driving style around this circuit. But right now, Exit Tibbs leads this race. Overtaker's gone green. Where is Ripper? There he is. Is he gone green? He has, but he is behind his rival. Nearly dropping the rear there, but it is away they go. And again, Overtaker seems to have got the jump on Ripper there, and it's extended his gap by a couple of hundredths there. But it's Tibbs and Emprava in the two Hondas leading the way from the Jaguar and Nexus. Here comes Tech Leader and Peaceful. These three very close to one another as Tech Leader looks to the outside. That's Peaceful explosion, but Peaceful keeping his nose clean. Tech Leader running onto the curb, Peaceful onto the curb as well. They are I mean, they are really threatening a chance to lose the rear. As you see there, Tech Leader all over the curb. He's had an issue there, struggling to get a good traction, but Emprava seems to have lost touch to his fellow Honda driver of Tibbs, who's pulled away. And Peaceful now goes through a chicane. Can he find a way through on the Jaguar as Nexus comes into the pits, as is Emprava? They're both into the pits, and Peaceful and Tech Leader get some clean air now And can they produce the lap times they need to do right now, as Ripper and Overtaker are right on one another? And while this is happening, this could give Tibbs an opportunity to start extending that gap while cars are busy racing one another. So those guys came into the pits while they were heading out of the hairpin. So this could be an interesting indicator to see where they are. Overtaker really seems to be struggling a little bit in these wet conditions, as he runs a little bit wide out of the right-hander there as they head up towards the very fast chicane. Ripper right on the rear wing of Overtaker. Overtaker decides to defend the inside. Can Ripper be brave enough around the outside? An equally fast car probably won't make it easy for him. But Overtaker with a decent exit there. Ripper right behind him as Barber's gone green, but these guys should jump him. There they go. Easy enough. Now, can Tibbs use this opportunity while they're too busy squabbling to extend the gap? And Peaceful is managing just to hold on to that 4.3 as Tibbs quite comfortably out in front at this stage. Paulo also opting not to pit yet, so your top four still haven't pitted. And Ripper and Overtaker still going at it. Smoky Devils come out ahead of Gary 131. And then Plava is ahead of all of them, bar Overtaker and Ripper, who have all managed to work their way past Emprava. But like I said, the more these guys scrap, the more difficult it's going to be to catch the guys at the front, as Overtaker goes a little bit deep into the hairpin and Ripper is right there chomping at the bit, wanting to find a way through, as Tibbs has lost a little bit of time to Peaceful. Peaceful's bringing him in a little bit. So we'll have a quick look at the... Oh, that doesn't work. I want to look at the timetables, but that only works on the PS5. So yeah, Tibbs at the minute. We'll do it this way. Tibbs' last lap was a 2:05.1, while Peaceful was probably lapping a little bit faster that time round. Oh, as Tibbs has a little twitch there. Yeah, 2:04.1 there from Peaceful Explosion, so he's looking pretty quick at the minute. Right now, though, Overtaker and Ripper are too busy squabbling with one another, and that's allowing Emplava to catch him back up again. Emplava not a million miles away from these two, as Overtaker really is struggling at this stage. As I will end the pole there. But Overtaker from Ripper. Is Ripper going to try and send it down into turn one? He's thinking of it as they break towards turn one. Overtaker defends the inside, and Ripper can't find a way through. Tried to get the cut back, but it wasn't happening there, as the top four still trying to extend their gap as much as they possibly can away from the rest of the grid. So Overtaker really seems to be struggling at this stage. Let's see what lap times he's currently doing. So he's done a 2:05.4, so not the quickest lap time at all. And like I said, while this is happening, Ripper looks to the outside of the left-hander, but he can't find a way through there. And once again, Ripper struggling to find a way through. He may get the run, but the Bentley comes straight over to defend the Audi. And around the outside, can Ripper go all the way around the outside? As Emplava's gone off, he's facing the wrong way. He's probably touched the curb. And Overtaker's gone deep. Ripper has gone through, and Ripper pushing him wide there. And Ripper's like, right, okay, off I go. Time to extend the gap to you, as Tibbs has come into the pits while these guys were squabbling. So has Tibbs done enough to keep him behind? That is the question. But the Audi looking very good at this stage. Has Emplava got going? Yes, he has. And he did have damage. Did he repair that damage? That is the question. But Ripper now, can he do anything about the leaders? Whereas Tibbs, he's pretty close to the end of the pit lane. So we will see where they all kind of funnel out As Overtaker's really pushing, trying to keep with Ripper. As Tibbs hasn't gone green yet. Ripper exits the final corner. Tibbs is going to go green any second now. As he crosses the start-finish line, Ripper goes through. Tibbs has gone green, but the top two have gone through. And there is exit Tibbs. He exits the pit lane, and he's not a million miles away from him either, so he's still within reach of the leaders, which is good for him. Peaceful, meanwhile, has been doing some decent lap times on his own, but it's going to be difficult now with Ripper getting clean air. Ripper was in the 202s in practice. Is he able to do those lap times? Now he is in clean air and on his own. Meanwhile, Tech Leader has got ahead of Peaceful Explosion, so Peaceful's made a mistake, and Tech Leader has got through. So this will make it even easier for Ripper and Overtaker to clear this group, as we are now through the halfway stage of this race. And Jay probably just sat there watching how these boys are racing from the back of the pack, picking up a little bits of tips here and there, so he can produce the best result he possibly can. As Peaceful is into pit lane. So Ripper now extending his gap. Tibbs is just keeping them within sight. But I think Peaceful is going to lose out to this group. Is he going to jump Tibbs? That is the question. As they all head up towards the final end of the circuit. Jay, Tech Leader leading the way at the minute. Ripper to extend his gap quite a bit now to Overtaker. Is Tibbs getting a little bit closer to Overtaker? He's just currently matching him at the minute. Nexus in P7 at the minute. So Peaceful is in pits as Ripper now exits the final corner. And where is Tibbs? There he is. He's now exiting the final corner towards the start-finish line. He comes. Peaceful Explosion still hasn't gone green. He has now gone green. He's been dropped. Where is Tibbs? There he is. And through he goes. Peaceful Explosion losing out to Tibbs there. But he hadn't taken the lead off him just yet. So he's actually probably gained a little bit of time, but he needs to get those cold tyres up to temperature as quickly as possible. As we're still waiting for Tech Leader and Paulo to do their pit stops. And once again, both of these guys opt in to choose the long option of staying out as long as possible. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but Tech Leader has been using it to his advantage. So at the minute, with the way the pit stops have worked themselves out, it's still the top two yet to pit. Tech Leader with a decent gap over Paulo at the minute as he comes up to the split. He's got a gap of 8.2 to the McLaren driver. Then it's Ripper, the first of the pit stoppers, currently in P3 with Overtaker 3.8 now, as he's more into the clutches of P4, 5-man of exit Tibbs, 2.3 off the bat. Peaceful Explosion, also 2.3 behind Peaceful Explosion in that P6 position. He's trying to catch Tibbs. P7 is the Jaguar of Nexus, currently trying to keep himself ahead of Emplava in P8, with Smoky Devil currently in P9, and Gary131 using race 1 as a test session to figure out where the grip is and see where he can gain in the feature race. But it is Paulo into the pits. These guys are now coming into the final sector. But Tech Leader, I reckon, once again will leave it to the very last lap, or the very last second to come into the pits. As Tech Leader now going through the hairpin. Paulo in the pits loses out to Ripper. He'll lose out to Overtaker. He'll lose out to Tibbs. And I believe he'll lose out to Peaceful Explosion as well. And where is Nexus? There is Nexus. He's in the final corner. All the cars spread out a little bit here at this stage. Paulo has gone green, so this should be close between him and Nexus. Towards pit exit he comes, and there he is. And the Jaguar will just stay ahead of the McLaren as they head towards turn 1. And Paulo will feed in behind. and Brava not too far away from this scrap either. So Paulo looking to try and capitalize on the Jaguar. He will have fresher tires, but they are freezing cold at this stage. But Tech Leader once again leading the way as Ripper comes into the final sector. Middle sector, sorry, as Tech Leader opts to pit. And Ripper exits the hairpin. Overtake it is in the middle of the hairpin. As we've lost the driver, who we've lost. We have lost Smoky Devil. So I'm not sure what happened to Smoky Devil there. But we have lost Smoky Devil. Tech Leader is in pit lane. We'll see how long his pit stop will be. But Paulo is still within reach of that Jaguar. And Prava is not a million miles away either. So Gary will score 9th place points. So Prava trying to catch Paulo and Nexus at the minute. Ripper coming up to the chicane. Tech Leader has come to a stop. Can Ripper negotiate the chicane beautifully as the Overtaker has a little bit of a squirty moment. Tibbs is at a moment himself. He's dropped behind Peaceful Explosion, so Peaceful possibly on his way to maybe a podium if he can get himself ahead of Tech Leader. So Ripper down towards turn 1, well in front of Tech Leader. Overtaker will jump him as well, and this is going to be the key thing. Peaceful should jump Tech Leader also as well. He does. Tech Leader's pit stop is quite a long one as Nexus is coming now, so Nexus is going to threaten him as Tech Leader has now gone green. As Tibbs has gone past, here comes Nexus. Tech Leader is now off the limiter. There he is, heading towards turn number 1. And Tech Leader will just hold on to P5 at this stage, but Nexus has gone wide. Paulo's going to go around the outside and try and do it in turn 2. He can't quite get the job done at this minute as Nexus just runs in wide in the big brute, the Jaguar, and there goes Paulo. He goes round, avoids the wall luckily, and then Bravo will gain a position if Paulo doesn't hit the side of him, and he nearly does there. That was inches from disaster as then Bravo will now move up to 7th. But Tibbs currently on the back of Peaceful. But with only 3 minutes left to go, it is Ripper leading the way with Overtaker in 2nd. Peaceful is in 3rd. 4th is Tibbs. Got disconnected again, says Smoky Devil. That's such a shame. Do a quick internet test, Smoky. Hopefully that should help it out. But, mate, you're not the only one suffering with internet issues at this stage. My internet's not been fantastic either, but hey, we live and learn, and we try and go better. But hopefully you can get yourself back in for race 2 and it doesn't get disconnected. But Ripper leading the way with quite a comfortable gap, probably this lap and another one to go. So far, so good for Ripper. Right now, the fight is probably going to be between Peaceful and Tibbs. I say that Tibbs is at a moment, and he's lost out to Peaceful quite a bit there, and he's not going to be catching Peaceful anytime soon. Right now, he will have to worry about Tech Leader coming after him. So at the minute, it's a shame we don't have a lot of drivers here this evening, but it would have been nice to fill the grid right up. But Peaceful himself has not had a decent first sector. He's lost out 8 seconds. 8.3 was the gap, and as you can see, that is not 8.3. So anything can still happen towards the end of this race. Smoky Devil does get himself back into the session. So right now, Tibbs trying to work his way onto the back of Peaceful Explosion as they head up towards the Schumacher S's. And Peaceful's had a twitch there. He's had a moment. He's only got to survive one more lap and he will gain third place position. But as it stands, Ripper will gain 4 points from this one. As they head up towards the back end of the circuit to start his final lap, Ripper is on his way to start the final lap and another race win possibly to his name. As this scrap here is going to get interesting. The tech leader was catching these two. He's had a bit of a slide there. Everywhere else is pretty secure. But Ripper going through the first sector. This is the fight we've got to keep an eye on. Can Tibbs get Peaceful right at the end, or can Peaceful just hang in there for that final podium position? They head into turn one. Honda versus Honda, and not too far away is the Ferrari of Tech Leader. He can see them two squabbling. He wants to get involved. He wants that P3. Can he find a way through? That is the question. Like I said, the more and more these two squabble, the more and more chance that Tech Leader could find a way through. Tibbs trying to get a good exit, a good run, as he now heads towards the middle sector, heading down towards turn 4. As Mike gets on the curb, Peaceful struggling ever so slightly with the rear of the car. Then to 5 they go. If Tibbs can get a good run, but Mike's closed the door. They're both on the curb. The Ferrari's not a million miles away either. This is going to be a fight right to the end as Ripper and Overtaker head up towards the top of the Schumacher S's. As Peaceful's gone a little bit deep, but he's able to cut back in and get the exit out of the hairpin. He's only got half a lap to go to survive. We'll keep an eye on Ripper. He's currently heading towards the final chicane. Tech Leader has finally got onto the scene as well. And Plava's caught Nexus towards the end as well, but it is between Tibbs and Peaceful as Ripper comes into the final sector, into the final corner. It is another win. It is a sprint win, and it's another win for the Audi at home soil. Ripper wins round 17 here at the Nürburgring. Congratulations to him. Overtaker now into the final corner. We have a quick look at Tibbs. It hasn't still got the job done. So Overtaker will exit the final corner. He will take P2 and 4 points is extended on Ripper. Peaceful is just good. There is Tech Leader. He's sending it on Tibbs. He's made the mistake, and it's Peaceful has been saved right at the end there. He will get P3 ahead of Tibbs, ahead of Tech Leader. A little bit of a messy end there for Tibbs and Tech Leader. The Tech Leader finished in 5th. Nexus will finish 6th, then Plaba will finish 7th, Paulo will finish in 8th, and Gary 131 will bring up the rear in 9th place position. As it got a little bit exciting towards the end of that race, but wow. There's 107 points still remain in this championship. And Overtaker. Oh, Gary's had another moment. Overtaker has a lot of work to do. 34 points is the gap between him and Ripper. And it's going to be a fight to the bitter end. As Ben in the chat, Nexus, as I said, P6 not bad considering the fact that my front brakes were on fire. Oh no, he made the brake issue as well, the brake mistake of closing the air ducts, and they don't really do any justice. But out the final corner, Gary 131 will finish the race, and across the line he comes in P9. So still points. He still scores some points, and now he's going to have to do a lot of testing and a lot of figuring out of what to do to that car. But it is Ripper, once again, who wins another race ahead of Overtaker, ahead of Peaceful Explosion. We'll be back in a few moments' time as we'll get the qualifying session underway and the feature race for the penultimate round of the season. We will see you in a few moments' time.
Getting hype when I aim up, elevating that game up. Stepping up to the competition. Only first place, yeah, that's how I'm living. I'm with it till they digging up my grave. Eating all the things up on my plate. Game face when I step up into place. I was born and when I watched me elevate. I was born and when I watched me elevate. All in when I show up. Whole place about to blow up. Superior to that competition. I'm in first place, yeah, that's how I'm living. I'm with it till they digging up my grave. Eating all the things up on my plate. Game face when I step up into place. I was born and when I watched me elevate. Watch me elevate. I was born to win, watch me elevate. I was born to win, watch me elevate.
Broken dreams in my pocket. Golden thing round my neck like a locket. Carve your name in my mind, 'cause you caught it. You caught it. You're golden, golden. Honestly, you know it. Me under the street like I am, so I could show you. You're golden, golden. Honestly, you're glowing. Me under the mezzanine, just so that I could show you. You're golden. Hey, you're golden. You're golden. Hey, you're golden. Golden. Lay on the carpet, eye to eye, glistening. No, I saw it. I saw it. You're golden, golden. Honestly, you know it. Me under the street like I am, so I could show you. You're golden, golden.
Right, ready. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to SimPlay Motorsport. And we've only got one driver in the commentary box with me at this stage, and that is your third place man, Peaceful Explosion. I'll try and get this wrapped up as quickly as possible, sort your flying lap. But like you just said to me just before we went live again, you said you wasn't expected to be speaking to me tonight, and obviously with yourself not feeling very well, couldn't be more happy with that result, surely.
Yeah, I think I was very happy with that result. Excuse everyone if I'm coughing and spluttering, but I've got the dreaded lurgy that's going round. Yeah, I didn't feel comfortable racing tonight, but I've got to defend that third spot, so I've got to keep the gap on there, especially with Matt next week.
Well, yeah, with no Matt here again, you've managed to get yourself on the podium again. Again, you're going to be probably sitting there going, Matt, just don't turn up for a season. I might actually have a good championship. Obviously, with the win out in Suzuka, has that helped you build momentum throughout the rest of this season? Obviously, I know it's GT4s, but nonetheless, it was racing against people like myself, Fury, and other fast drivers as well. Has that now given yourself momentum throughout the rest of this season?
Yeah, I think the GT4s helped me because they're slightly slower and more stable. When I come to set up this car on the Thursday before we reset the server and prep it all for the night, it sort of helps me develop it a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it just seems to work.
How are the conditions out there? It's very wet. Looks like we've got more rain coming. Very cold as well. How is the Honda feeling tonight?
Not too bad. It just feels slow. But I mean, what was my practice? I was 7th, was that? I was like 2.5 seconds off Ripper's pace, which obviously doesn't mean much to anyone else. There was quite a few of us in the same ballpark, but yeah, I just feel slow, bit understeery, but it seems to have livened up a little bit. So
okay, if we get a decent qualifying under your belt, what is the plan for race 2?
At least 3rd is my hope. At least get 3rd. If Overtaker has a bad race, because he wasn't that much faster than me in the race, I don't think. Until I spun, that was. So yeah, potential 2nd. I think Ripper's still got the pace unless we both take each other out.
Yeah, the Audi has been looking very good tonight. Obviously, Dad's taken a win in the Pro-Am as well. But nonetheless, Mike, congratulations on the P3, and I will let you get on with the rest of your qualifying lap, and best luck for race 2.
Cheers, thank you.
And there you go, Peaceful Explosion in the commentary box after a fantastic race 1 here at the Nürburgring. And like I said, it keeps happening when Matt isn't here. Peaceful seems to have a very good week, so it's nice to see that Peaceful does get a few podiums from time to time, as Ripper is going to be the first one to complete a lap time as he heads up to the chicane. I believe my fastest lap time after all the racing was said and done, I did a 2:19 was my overall best in the race for race 2, so let's see what Ripper can do. I'm expecting a 2-minute flat, hopefully. As he comes towards the line, he does a 2:10, so he's not far off that already. So Ripper showing why he is the pro champion in this division here on SimPlay Motorsport. If we do go to the PS5, I believe he will not be joining us, sadly, so it is a shame. If you're wondering why Gary and Jay are sitting in the pits, they're both carrying qualifying bands. So Peaceful is the next one across line. He goes P2, currently 2.4 off the pace, Ripper said, but I think Ripper really isn't human. Overtaker goes 1.2, and Tech Leader will just go ahead of Peaceful Explosion. So it'll be a while until we see another car around to the line. I believe it will be Emprava, as he's a little bit slow at the minute. Regarding the championship standings, it looks like this. Ripper still leading the way. He has gained 4 points on Overtaker after winning in the sprint race. It is now 561 to his name to Overtaker's 527. Peaceful Explosion hanging in there in P3 position. He's got quite a comfortable gap at the minute to Matinovic, who is in P4 still. Gary131 is currently... sorry, hang on a minute. I haven't updated these. So there's me trying to read it, and I can't actually understand it. So fantastic. So let me just quickly adjust these a minute, as we're still waiting for Emprava to get himself around the circuit. Just click that. There we go. Up to date now, and I understand it. So P4 is actually tech leader. He is 1 point ahead of Matimovic after all of that, and ahead of Gary 131 still, who's only 3 points behind his teammate. Nexus is catching up to those two, as well as Exit Tibbs has got himself up to P8. Jay is now P9, with Fury in P10. Euro is P11, but Smoky Devil is not too far away from him in P12, as Paulo goes up to P13. Louis Allen drops to 14th, and Praba's 15th, and Wolfinator in 16th. Regarding the constructors, again, that's another one that I haven't updated. Fantastic. Where's Matt when you need him? He'd probably be doing qualifying. That doesn't really need updating anyway. So Teletubby Motorsport is still leading the way, 169 points out of Jaeger Motorsport. The Killer Performance, 6 points behind them, with Flying Potatoes still in this. They are currently still mathematically in it, 61 points though, and they will be out of the championship. They are currently in P4. They're only 30 points behind Killer Performance. SimPlay Racing is in P5, Titan Euro P6, and P7 is Hot Wheels Racing, with JW Esports Racing in P8. Bentley from Audi, from Ferrari, from Honda, from McLaren, from Porsche, from Aston Martin, Lexus, Jaguar, BMW, Lamborghini, Mercedes, Nissan, and Retia. After me doing all that, some times have been updated on the tables as well. Give the channel a little bit of a refresh so I can see who is in the chat. It is still Ripper who's fastest at the minute. Overtaker currently 1.2 off the pace, but Tech Leader finding some pace as well. He's only half a second off the back of Overtaker, with Peaceful currently P4 with 2.4 off the pace. Paulo's in the pits as Emprava is going to complete a lap in a minute, as Tibbs on a lap. Nexus is on a lap as well, as is Smoky Devil. All these guys still not set a lap time just yet, as we keep an eye on Emprava as he heads up towards the final end of the circuit. Nice to see Tracy in the chat saying late, but better late than never. And hello to everyone from him. Let's go Tibbs, always your biggest fan, brackets mum. And great racing the other day. Dan, thank you very much. I'm not sure which racing you were talking about, but whether it was GT4s or GT3s, either one was great fun. I think it was the GT4s probably. But make sure you tune in on Monday next week, as the GT4s will have their final race at Misano. It is down to me and Fury in the championship, and we're both separated by 1 point. Chevy Camaro versus the BMW M4. Which one's going to come out on top? Ripper has finally done what I've asked him to do and do a 2-minute flat. So he's now gone fastest. 1.1 off the 1.5 seconds off the pace is still Overtaker as Tech Leader in P3. And we got Peaceful Stepdad in the chat saying evening everybody, as well as Peaceful returns back to the pits. And he'll probably go back into his party shortly. But we still got Jay and Gary 131 on a qualifying ban. Jay will be pretty bored now of watching, as Overtaker's had a moment and he has moved to the side to stay out of people's way. So that is the current standings at the minute. Reminder as well, on Sunday night, the PS5 League will be returning once again. Fury's got quite a healthy gap at the minute over PN Motorsport, with DJ Phil currently in third, Dean in fourth, and Cranky Duckhead sitting in fifth place position as it stands. But all still to play for as they head to Snetterton for another night race, as we will continue the night race season, and I believe it might be raining as well at Snetterton also, so an interesting race could be ahead of us on Sunday night. Monday night, like I said, the GT4s will return for the final time and the final week. It is finals week for every single championship. GT4s championship still up the line, 1 point between myself and Fury. Also is still going on in the background, and there is still a championship going for that one as well. As I quickly look at the tables, it is between Baraba, PN Motorsport, Future Revenge, and Danlik, all still up for the championship. So we'll keep an eye on how they get on. Obviously, a Rapid Racing team was the only team to confirm and race, so they're going to win the Constructors. Pro-Am is all wrapped up, and there's no real fights other than DJ Phil versus Monkey Boy for pride in that one. And also Greasy Bandit Racing versus Dynaco are both level on points. So we'll see how those two will finish the season off in Pro-Am. So that's really to finish in the runner-up space at the minute. But then obviously the pros will return at Misano, and as it stands, it is still Ripper versus Overtaker. Overtaker trying to keep this going until the very last race of the season. He's put up a heck of a fight to Ripper, but I think Ripper might have the edge. But who knows? It should be dry for Misano as we head to Italy for the final race of the season. And at the minute, no one really improving. No one's on a lap at the minute either. The number 24, the young American of Tibbs. And I do feel like Tibbs has been a brilliant driver this season. He's had ups and downs this season. And being here had a great scrap at Nürburgring with the Camaros. And I did quite enjoy. Very respectful driver, very clever as well. And I've seen a lot of his socials as well. I follow him on the Instagram account, and he's a very quick kart driver. So some great things to come from Tibbs in the future, I believe. So and hopefully SimPlay can help him get to where he wants to be. And that's the same for everyone here. And while I'm at that stage of telling how great SimPlay Motorsport is, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to be notified so you don't miss anything here at SimPlay Motorsport. Have a also look at our sponsors below as well, Design Manchester and Audio Sport as well. Our fantastic sponsors giving us the best opportunity of running a fantastic league here on the YouTube channel account and on Assetto Corsa Competizione. If you do want to be a part of the action here at SimPlay Motorsport, we do have one round left to go, but in the new year we will be returning. We'll be returning on the new gen consoles. We will be turning to the PS5. We may be looking at possibly PC. I am not 100% sure on that one. But nonetheless, we will be looking to expand, and we will be changing things up for next season because the cameras here on PS4 have decided to give up on us. And I believe that is Tibbs done for the session. He'll be turned to the pits as Nexus comes up to the chicane. So make sure you tune in and get yourself signed up ready in the new year. We will have some fun events on at the same time. Possibly a new year, maybe a Christmas event on. We will see as we will get things going. And we may return to some other games, GT7, possibly a Formula 1 event. Who knows? And see what Santa brings everyone next season. As a lot of these boys and girls will want to be wanting sim rigs, new PlayStations, new consoles, new sim rigs. So they are ready for the new season of SimPlay Motorsport. But if you do want some fantastic gifts, then head over to Design Manchester and Audio Sport and see what they have to offer as Ripper comes into the final corner as he will complete his flying lap here. If you are a part of the Facebook page and the Discord page, then please help yourself in dropping down any information or facts or any interest that you find here in motorsport, or not just in motorsport, in any form of sport. We talk, obviously most of us chat in the parties together. A lot of the community is still quite close and tight, and obviously the Discord is very well supported as well. So guys, feel free to ask any of the admin team any information, or if you want to know anything at all, then please feel free to message us. And that is obviously in the Discord. If you are part of the Discord, it is myself, Dan Davis, one of the admin team, Peaceful Explosion, aka Mike as well, PN Motorsport, aka Phil, and also the main man himself, Matt Ahimovic and Matthew Duffin. We are the full admin team, and if you do have any questions, any queries whatsoever, then help yourself to message, DM us, contact us in any way, and we will try our very best to give you the best experience as possible here at SimPlay Motorsport. As Smoky Devil just exits the chicane, he is now coming towards the line. I think he might sneak a lap in. It's going to be tight. He comes to the line. There is the finish line. He will get one more lap in, no improvement. That is it for everyone else, though. Tech leader, half a second off the pace of Overtaker. Can he find that half a second? He finds time, but not enough. That is his session done. Ripper is done. Who is that in the final corner? That is Nexus. He comes and practice the pit lane. So we then look to the 14 of Overtaker. It looks a little bit drier out there tonight for race 2 as we then head up towards the chicane. It is Overtaker and Peaceful as Smoky Devil is bailed on his final lap. It is down to these two to upset the qualifying as Overtaker comes up to the final corner. Can Peaceful jump ahead of his fellow Honda driver of Tibbs and get ahead of Tech Leader? But right now, Overtaker to the line. Any improvement? He finds 2/10, but nowhere near the pace of Ripper. Here comes Peaceful Explosion. Towards the line he comes. And he does not improve. He will stay P5. But once again, it is Ripper on pole for the final time here tonight at the Nürburgring. We will go racing at night. And the night race really has been an interesting one. A lot of the drivers possibly not enjoying it, as it's probably not the easiest, but most of the circuits that we go to aren't well lit, so like I said, most of them will struggle to find the limits. But like I said, once again, it is Ripper who takes pole position. He will gain that extra championship point, and obviously it goes towards his stats as well. And like I said, if you haven't done so, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to be notified so you don't miss anything here at SimPlay Motorsport. And also, a lot of the drivers do run their own streams, run their own channels, so if you do want to see any of their action and their POV so you don't miss anything from them, I'm pretty sure they will have all the links on the Facebook page and so on and so forth. So there's the extra championship point for Ripper. And if we look at the stats this season, we've had 10 races and only 2 people have taken pole position. 9 have gone the way of Ripper, 1 has gone the way of Overtaker. So Overtaker the only one really threatening him, and Ripper this season has had quite a few wins. I think his lowest position was at Suzuka, which was a P4. No, sorry, Nürburgring, P10. He didn't even get a win at Nürburgring and Suzuka, so a circuit where he's been struggling are those 2. But put it this way, we've got 22 races, 24 races, I believe. No, 10 races, so 20 altogether. I'm even looking at the spreadsheet right now, and I still couldn't figure that out. Yeah, we've had 20 races, and Ripper has had 13 wins. 13 wins. That's a crazy achievement. And the only time he hasn't won a race or been on the podium, he's had a 4th or a 10th, which was Hungaroring and Suzuka, and both of those rounds he didn't win the race. He only got 2nd. So he's had a pretty phenomenal season. Meanwhile, Overtaker, on the other hand, has been Mr. Consistent. Always on the podium. He has not dropped a single round where he has not been on the podium. Every single race. This Bentley has really helped him secure a very consistent season. So, fantastic stuff from him. And there's only been a few other drivers that have been on the podium. Tech Leader, also Jay has been on the podium. Peaceful Explosion has been on the podium multiple times, and Matahimovic. Other than that, the only other time that someone's been on the podium, Exit Tibbs was on the podium at Bathurst. And I believe that is it. Fury was another one as well. Fury getting a few podiums as well. So it's been an interesting season for a lot of these guys, and I think a few of them will be going back to either old cars or getting themselves back to new cars when they go on to the PS5. I enjoyed it. It's the Jag who doesn't, says Ben in the chat, aka Nexus. I've waffled on quite a bit. Let's get this final race underway here. Once again, it is Overtaker versus Ripper, and Overtaker really needs to stop him, as I will get a pole going. As they've still got to get through the final sector. There is your poll. Get your votes in on who you think is going to win the second race. Ripper, Overtaker, Peaceful or Tibbs based off the results of the last race. But also, if you think someone else will win this race, then please drop a message in the chat, as already 50-50 going the way of Ripper and Overtaker. As there's still obviously votes for Peaceful and Tibbs if you want to get the votes in for them. As they now come into the final part of the lap. As always this season, it is Audi versus Bentley again, as they will now get themselves into formation. So a quick final run through. Front row is Ripper, Overtaker. Row 2, Tech Leader, Tibbs. Row 3 is Peaceful and Smoky Devil. Row 4, Nexus and Emplava. Row 5, Paulo and Jay. And bringing up the rear is Gary131. The two drivers on a qualifying ban. But it is, once again, Ripper versus Overtaker for the start of this race. Exit Tibbs and Tech Leader will have the best seats in the house as we're about to get underway here. And we are green here at the Nürburgring. And looks like Ripper's just got the jump ever so slightly, but Overtaker right there. He does not want to give the Audi any breathing space whatsoever as they're heading towards turn 1. And both of them go into the corner, and Ripper's gone wide, and they make contact, and Overtaker really trying to stomp his authority as they go through turn 2, as they currently watch all this going on, and Tibbs just in the background watching them. Overtaker's gone wide, Ripper's stayed to the inside, and that's given Ripper the outside for turn 4, and now Overtaker is under pressure from Tibbs. Meanwhile, Peaceful's dropped to the back of the pack. Smoky Devil's facing the wrong way. Who else is there? That's Smoky Devil off. Gary131's had a decent start, and like I said, it normally takes him a few laps to get himself up and away. Jay is right behind him as well, but it is Ripper versus Overtaker, and I think now it's going to be difficult for Overtaker to stop him. He needs to get him in the first couple of corners, and Ripper now, as they break into the hairpin, and Overtaker nearly hits the back of him, and he runs wide. That gives the door opportunity for Tibbs, and he goes through. Tech Leader now is looking to possibly get onto the back of these guys, but Overtaker has been overtaken by Tibbs. And Tibbs is on a roll here. He's on a mission, and he's got a great run through the Schumacher S's, and he's not a million miles behind Ripper at this stage. As Overtaker goes a little bit deep there, as Tech Leader goes deep, Nexus goes deep, Gary goes very deep, and there goes through Jay and Peaceful Explosion. Paulo just sitting in P9, and Plava 10th, and Smoky Devil bringing up the rear. But it is the Audi from the Honda from the Bentley to go through the chicane, and Ripper just a little bit tentative through the chicane there, and that gives Tibbs a sniffing opportunity to come a little bit closer to the back of Ripper. Ripper looking a little bit squirrely at the start of this lap. The gap was 1.1. It is now 0.8 between him and Tibbs, so Tibbs having a very good start, but he has still got the Bentley of Overtaker. Overtaker going to try and brake later, but he does manage to get it stopped and try and get a good run out of turn 1, but can't quite seem to do so. Everyone else, meanwhile, just following suit at the minute. And Smokey is going to try and get himself to try and get onto the back of the pack, but Overtaker now kind of have a has a problem of a Honda in his way, and the Honda of Tibbs is allowing Ripper to extend his gap. It was still 0.8 when they went through the first split. Oh no, as they come down to the first split now, Overtaker's had a great run through the first sector as they head towards the hairpin, and the gap is now 1.5 seconds. So Ripper is trying to extend his gap to Tibbs, as Overtaker has a squirrely moment on exit there. Meanwhile, Paulo's looking to the back of Jay. Everyone else is all kind of spread out a little bit. What's happened to Peaceful? He's dropped behind all of these guys. As it's relatively flat everywhere else, it is just this fight between Overtaker and Tibbs. And Tibbs looks quite good in the Honda. in race pace form. He looks very, very good, and he looks to try and threaten the top two as much as he possibly can. But Ripper now has got quite a comfortable gap at this stage. He just needs to keep it on the black stuff. Oh, as Overtaker's had a loose moment out of the corner. And Tech Leader's going to get closer, but not quite close enough. So Ripper crosses the line. 1.7 was the gap. It's now 2 seconds. He's now started to extend that gap. Overtaker a second behind Tibbs. Tech Leaders within 4/10 of Overtaker. Nexus is 1.9 behind the leaders. 3.2 is Gary 131. Jay is 1.1. 2 seconds is Paulo. He's got 4/10 ahead of Peaceful with his teammate 1.3 behind, and Smoky Devil has finally caught the back of the pack. But Tech Leader, we did look like he was going to get a little bit closer to Overtaker towards the end, but he lost a little bit of time through the first sector. Peaceful just struggling there to get the traction out of turn 2 as they head now towards turn 3 in the Mercedes arena. Normally you'll see that grandstand there, the AMG Mercedes grandstand all lit up, but in the night it's not very bright, as Tech Leader has lost quite a bit of time to Overtaker, and Overtaker has lost a lot of time to Tibbs, who's lost even more time to Ripper, and Ripper now got a chance to extend the gap. It was 2 seconds when they crossed the start finish line, and he's found a second alone in the first sector. So it's going to take a lot now to anybody to stop Ripper unless he makes a mistake, which he does make mistakes. We've seen it as Suzuka as he exited 130R. He touched the curb and that just spat him straight back out, and into the wall he went. So Overtaker is human. He does make mistakes, and at the minute the man in the pound seat is Tibbs, and he's looking very good in P2 at the minute, and I do not want to curse him. Jay meanwhile, oh, he runs a little bit wide as he's trying to find a way past on Gary, and he can't seem to find a way through at this stage. Piece of explosion now on the back of Paulo, and Paulo just seems to be improving each round. Every round he gets a little bit quicker and he gets more onto the pro pace. So Paulo really been improving as the season's gone on. But Smoky Devil, I think he's been the man struggling a lot this season. Stuck with the M6, was very good in Pro-Am, but seems to struggle here in the Pro. And Mike looking to the inside of the final corner. Paulo's gone and missed his brakes. He runs wide, and Peaceful Explosion down the inside and gets the job done. Jay lost pace to Gary 131 as the rest of the pack funnel their way through. And another second gained for Ripper there as he pulls away from Tibbs. Overtaker trying everything he can to find a way past the Honda because his championship rival is ahead of him. And twice already this season that Tibbs at Nürburgring has split the championship contenders. Obviously did it in the GT4s with myself and Fury. That brought the championship down to 1 point, but in this case it'll be extending the gap for Ripper over Overtaker. So Tibbs likes to get involved in the championship. He likes to get involved even if there's a championship involved. So Tibbs not scared to get in the action, which is great to see. As you see, Jay once again caught onto the back of Gary 131. These two seem to be having a better race. Oh, obviously Jay didn't race in the first race, but these two getting themselves involved in the race. Jay looked very good in practice, but seemed to have struggled here. And Prava now onto the back of Paulo, but he's also got Smoky Devil. So there are fights up and down the grid, while the race leader is currently 5.4 ahead of this man, Tibbs, who's trying to hold off Overtaker. You can just see the champion pulling away. Is he going to be able to continue holding on to that number one for the rest of the PS4 league? We may see Ripper return in the future if he gets a PS5 or if he goes to PC. Who knows? But Gary has lost out to Jay here. I've just realised that. So Jay has worked his way ahead of Gary 131, who run the old Porsche at Donington Park in the PS5 version when the 992 is available, and he ran the 991. So Gary 131 running his old faithful there. As we see now, Smoky Devil putting some pressure on M. Prava. And Smoky in the BMW should be even Stevens in a straight line. Smokey's going to try and brake later into turn 1. He sticks a nose up the inside, and Palava sees him, gives him the racing room, and Smokey can't get the job done. Oh, Smokey a little bit much on the loud pedal. He holds the slide beautifully there and is not able to find a way past at the minute. So Gary is actually losing time to Peaceful now as Gary's gone wide. Hasn't cost him too much. As Ripper now heads down towards the hairpin, and he has got quite a comfortable gap at this stage. As Tibbs comes to the split now, it was 5.9. It's now 6.5, so Ripper just eking out his lead. But like I said, anything can still happen, and mistakes do happen. So once again, all of the gaps are kind of just spread out, except for this one. Peaceful has found a way past on Gary 131. Not sure where he got that done, but he has got ahead of Gary, and Gary seems to just be struggling at this stage. Peaceful has now gained, and can he creep onto at the back of Nexus and Jay? And Nexus having a solid race at the minute in P5, keeping ahead of the rest of the pack, and Tech Leader is just hanging on to this squabble between Tibbs and Overtaker. So all still a play for us. Overtaker's had a big snap, had a moment in the chicane. He's managed to collect it. He's got it together. Brilliant driving there from Overtaker. He had a big snap, and he was just struggling to keep the car under control while everyone else funnels their way through the final sector. They will not be able to come into the pits this lap, but they possibly will be next time round. But Tibbs, once again, just not got the pace to fight Ripper at the minute, who's just long gone into the distance. It's like watching Max Verstappen on a Sunday night. Mazzano will be the final chance to someone else other than Overtaker to stop him. I think Overtaker is the only one to stop him. Those two have been the only ones to win this season. And it has literally just been the Overtaker Ripper show in the pro category. We missed the days of De Silva and Matimovic making every race, and Fury turning up for a race every now and then, but at this minute everyone seems to be struggling with the PS4, but hopefully when we go to PS5 things will become a lot better. So at the minute everybody just kind of just sitting and kind of sussing everyone out, kind of just trying to see what everyone's up to right now. Jay is the only one really on the move. He is on the rear wing of Nexus. He wants to try and clear Nexus so he can get ahead, but he's got a little bit too deep into the Schumacher S's. Gets it together, and Peaceful's not close enough to capitalize on that. It was 2.4 the gap, but Jay was the man who was making the moves, and now he's lost all that time he's gained. Tech Leader has got ahead of Overtaker. So Overtaker has made a mistake, and his championship is slipping out of his fingers at this stage because he's lost another place to another car, lost out to Tibbs, lost out to Tech Leader, and Nexus isn't a million miles away either. So I say the pit window would have been opening for others. It has opened, and Empalava and Smokey really the only ones to capitalize on it, and Empalava's into the pit straight away. Peaceful Explosion is now making a move on Jay. Jay really had a poor end to that lap, and it's Peaceful down the inside into turn 1. Gary's nowhere near to really get involved as Jay braked a lot later, and he can stay wider. And there is grip on the outside, and he manages just to keep hold of that position. But Peaceful Explosion now on the back end of the Ferrari. He seems to be a lot better in the race than he is in qualifying. And Jay just trying to hang in there now. They're still gaining onto the back of Nexus. Gary's creeping back onto him, and he's dragging Paulo with him. Paulo's only half a second off the back of Gary 131. So this is a great little scrap between these two as well. Gary seems to be struggling here at the Nürburgring. I believe he is one of the most successful around here as well. Let me have a quick look. Gary, yeah, he's had 3 wins here and 1 pole position. But at the minute, he is struggling in that Porsche. Mazda also another one that was quite successful around here. De Silva, overtaker 1-1 for him. Who others on there? Matinovic also. Daz Automatics had 2 wins here now. De Hoffner's had 2 wins to his name. Myself has had 4 wins and 2 podiums. So a lot of drivers have had great opportunities here. 3 race starts for Ferrari, and I believe this will make its 100th appearance. Obviously 1 because of tech leader earlier on in race 1, and now 2 with Jay and tech leader. So Ferrari is now on its 100th appearance here at SimPlay Motorsport, and Peaceful Explosion straight into the pits. Ripper 10.4 ahead of Tibbs, ahead of tech leader, ahead of overtaker, then Nexus, then Jay, and Peaceful is into the pits. Gary's also into the pits. Paulo stays out, as does Smoky Devil. BMW just need 1 podium to make its 100th, and Nexus in this race is on his 50th appearance. I forgot to mention that. So Nexus in the Jaguar makes his 50th appearance here at the Nürburgring in these wet conditions, and he's got a Ferrari right up his backside. Oh, he's lost the rear, he's lost the rear, he's lost the rear, Nexus. After I told him it's his 50th race, he starts having to have a moment. But he manages to keep it together. But the Ferrari of Jay is right there, he's right behind him. But he can't seem to find a way through at the minute. I reckon that if Jay gets released, he'll be able to try and hunt down Overtaker. Overtaker seems to be walking wounded at the minute, and the rain is getting heavier. In about 30 minutes time towards the end of this race, it is getting heavier, and Jay flashing eyes at Nexus, trying to put him off, trying to distract him as they head to the hairpin. And Plava pitted early, but Peaceful's already gone, so Peaceful and Plava probably had damage. But Jay still pressurising the back of the Jaguar here as they go up towards the Schumacher S's. And you see Nexus not the best exit for himself there. Excuse me. And Jay much faster through that corner, but he runs wide. He gets onto the slippy curb. Towards the right-hander they go, and then down towards the chicane. Nexus had a terrible exit, but Jay got caught out by his slow exit, and he had to run wide onto the gravel, and he now loses time. Flash of lights from Jay there. He's still trying to put the Jaguar off. Jaguar's old brakes, and Nexus pits. He comes straight into the pits. That's going to release Jay. And Overtaker comes into the pits as well. So can Jay use this clean air, not just to clear Nexus, but to also clear Overtaker? That is the question. But Ripper, 11.3 seconds ahead of Tibbs, who's actually starting to get caught by Tech Leader a little bit here. So Tech Leader trying to come back at Tibbs here, with Jay currently sitting in P4. Paulo is still opting to stay out with Smoky Devil as well. Tech Leader, we know, will go till the very end of the pit window. He might prove me wrong now, which will annoy me. Because Tech Leader has chosen to do this strategy pretty much all season long. And it has worked for him. There's been times where it's definitely worked for him. Now, I think Jay should then adopt this tactic and try and get some good points here. There's still votes up for driver of the race winner for this one. At the minute, it's going the way of Overtaker. There is a vote for Tibbs, and I'm pretty sure I know who voted for Tibbs, as Overtaker has been released. There is Peaceful. So Peaceful not a million miles away from Overtaker. So already that clean air that Peaceful had has helped him out. He's jumped Nexus. I believe he was behind Nexus as well. So, yeah, Peaceful Explosion jumping ahead of Nexus after the pit stops. Overtaker is only now into turn 3, or Peaceful is now also in turn 3. So as Overtaker exits corner, Peaceful seems to enter as Ripper carries on through. He doesn't opt to pit this lap. Tibbs still 13.1 ahead of, or behind Ripper. He's still trying to keep Tech Leader behind him, who's only 1.6, and he is catching him pretty quickly. Question is now, will Jay react to Overtaker? No, he's choosing to stay out. Smoky Devil currently P6 and Paulo P5. Paulo staying out, and I believe Smoky Devil will probably opt to stay out. Yes, he will. That BMW looking like a right handful tonight. Now, Overtaker, what can he do with these fresh set of tyres? Can he jump Tech Leader and Tibbs, or is he just going to be struggling for a little bit? You can hear him just a little bit of tyre squeal there from the Bentley. Oh, he's just struggling with the rear end. He does like a loose rear end, but I think he's just not getting the performance he wants out of this Bentley in these wet, greasy conditions. And Plava back of the pack, but still a lot of drivers still yet to pit. Let's have a look at our race leader for a little bit. Yep, he's still leading. Tibbs has still got a gap. He's extended the gap, I think, to Tech Leader. So I don't think Tech Leader's had the best middle sector. No, he's lost time. And Jay can see them. He can see them down the bottom end of the circuit. So it is doable. I think it was 10 seconds, the gap. And the gap is now 9.2. So Jay is turning up the engine mode, and he is now going to try and hunt down his teammate and Tibbs as well. So can the two Ferraris work together to try and clear the Honda? And Tibbs has got to do the best defending he could possibly do in that Honda. At the minute, he is just matching what Tech Leader is doing. Tibbs will have a mistake, then Tech Leader will have a mistake, but Jay is the man on the move as they then come up to the splits. As Ripper still continues to go on through. 14.2 is the gap. Tech Leader 2.3. It was 9.2 between the two Ferraris. Here is Jay as they come up to the final split. And it's 10 seconds, so he's actually lost time in the middle sector. But a lot better through the chicane there. Now Overtaker, he's extended the gap to Peaceful. And the rest of the guys behind also just with quite a fair amount of gaps. Everyone doesn't really want to be with each other, and they've really spread the pack out now. The only one who's really close to anyone at this minute is Tech Leader and Tibbs. Also, there's Smoky Devil and Paulo. They're quite close to one another as well. So once we get to the halfway stage of this race, I will end the poll that's currently on at the minute. But like I said, it is still a Ripper out in front. As we do come up to the halfway stage of this race. Audi leading the way with Ripper in the car, with Exit Tibbs currently sitting in P2 at the minute and doing a fantastic job of keeping the P3 man of Tech Leader behind him. Jay is currently P4 at this stage in his Ferrari, with Paulo currently sitting in P5. Smoky Devil sitting in that P6 position as it stands. And Overtaker, the first of the pit stoppers, running in P7. Then it is Peaceful Explosion, who's not a million miles away from Overtaker, so any mistakes from Overtaker, and Peaceful is going to capitalize on that. Nexus currently P9 at the minute in his Jaguar, 4.4 off the back of Peaceful Explosion, where Gary 131 in the final corner really struggled tonight in the Porsche, heads towards the start finish line, and he's currently 10.7 off the pace of Nexus. And Embrava in P11 having to straight line the chicane there, and he has to be a little bit careful as Ripper now comes straight into the pit lane, because he doesn't want to be involved in trying to lap any cars, and he tries to save time by doing the pit stop, and he comes in exactly halfway through this race.
Halfway mark, keep pushing.
Tibbs is now into the final. Oh, I think he was thinking about going into the pits, and Tech Leader thought about it as well. But all that's done is slowed them down, because they went to think about going into the pits and then bailed out of it. So Tibbs now, 1.8 was the gap. A little squirrely. That's now 1.1. Tech Leader's coming. And here comes Jay into the final corner. They are now heading into turn 1. It was 10 seconds the last time I checked. It is now 11.1. So Jay isn't really gaining on these guys as it stands. And it's now split between you guys. You think that 43% of you both think that Ripper and Overtaker will, one of those two will win this race, as there was only 7 votes. But Ripper's in, Paulo and Smokey both come in, so there's now just this three-way fight between Tibbs and Tech Leader and Jay. I don't think Jay really is going to get involved now unless something miraculous happens. The one to watch out for, though, now is Overtaker, as Ripper did get into the session first. He's gone green, and away he goes. Overtaker only now coming to the chicane, so quite a healthy gap there for Ripper. And once again, Tech Leader has lost time in the first sector. So it seems like Tibbs has hooked the first sector up. There seems to be quite level in sector 2. And then it's the final sector where Tech Leader seems to have the more confidence, I think, going through the fast chicane. So Ripper comes back out on track. Overtaker now only heading towards turn number 1. Peaceful is in. He's been catching him slowly. 4 tenths now has been gained by Peaceful there. Nexus has lost time. Paulo has gone green. Where is Gary 131? He's crossing the line now. Gary might jump Smokey as they come towards turn 1. There's Smokey. There's Paulo. Gary's going to have a scrap. Can he get the McLaren while he's got cold tyres? That is the question. Into the braking zone they go. He runs a little bit wide. He'll try and come back at the McLaren driver, but he has managed to jump Smokey as well. So Paulo actually gained a position on Gary, so Gary losing out to the McLaren. But we go back to the front. Tibbs is into the pit lane, as is Tech Leader and Jay as well. So that'll be everybody's pit stops done within the pit window, and still 7.5 minutes left to go. We've got 20 minutes still left of this race. Ripper is 23.1 ahead of his rival. So they came into the pits where an overtaker was in the within the hairpin. That usually indicates to me that it's going to be very close on pit exit. Meanwhile, Gary is very close to the back of Paulo, who's got Smoky Devil only 2 seconds behind him as they head up towards the Michael Schumacher S. Gary will want to try and cap. Oh, Gary, don't touch the gravel, lad. Still got a long way to go. So Ripper is already gone through turn 1. Overtaker is in the final corner. This should be interesting as Tibbs has now gone green. He's already at the exit. Tech Leader has gone green. This could be close. Jay's gone green as well. Tech Leader is going to lose out. Tibbs is going to hang on in there for P2. Where is Peaceful in all this? He's got ahead of Jay. And he's behind Tech Leader. Right. This is going to be an interesting end to this race. Jay's come out of the pits as well. He's behind Peaceful. So after all the pit stops is said and done, Ripper is still leading away quite comfortably. But it is Tibbs in second, third is Overtaker, and fourth is Tech Leader. So Tech Leader just losing out on the podium at the minute, probably staying out too long and overtaking using the clean air advantage. As Tech Leader has actually got more problems of Overtaker, a Peaceful behind him, but Peaceful getting into the dirty air of the Ferrari now, and Honda doesn't seem to like it. So after the pit stops, Tibbs is 21.4 behind Ripper. So put it this way, they're in the hairpin while Ripper is going into the right-hander and heading down towards the chicane. So yeah, we'll forget about Ripper for a minute, as Peaceful Explosion is trying now to find a way past Tech Leader. Gary 131 is still trying to find a way past on Paulo, and he can't seem to find a way through. They've extended their gap to Smoky Devil, who can't quite seem to get on terms as I say that. He was 2.5, he's now 1.7 behind these two. So Gary 131 still can't seem to find a way past the McLaren. Very good on the downforce is the McLaren. Can Peaceful work his way up to P4 here? Tech Leader is really the only one who could threaten his P3, as is Gary 131. Gary down in 9th. I don't really see him coming back at Mazzano either. As Tech Leader, oh, he hits the curb quite hard there, and the Ferrari somehow manages to keep it together and keeps it facing the right way. Tibbs, meanwhile, was flying away from Overtaker. Fresh tyres, and it's helping him out massively. As all these guys are now just trying to catch onto the back of Overtaker. So Peaceful's only 1.1 behind Tech Leader. Jay is 5.5 behind Peaceful, so Jay's actually gained quite a bit of time in the pit stops after Tech Leader came in. He was a bit behind. Nexus is only 4.6. Gary's lost time to Paulo. If anything, Smokey is closer to Gary at this stage. So you'll head into turn 1. And once again, we've got this low stage. Currently, track is at 8 degrees. With it being at night as well, we won't get any improvement on track temperature at all. Tibbs looks like he's quite comfortable in second place at the minute. Overtaker seems to be losing time to tech leader. Peaceful's dropped behind Jay, so Jay's had another opportunity given to him, and Peaceful has dropped down the order. So after a fantastic race 1 for Peaceful, we're finishing in P3. He's now dropped to P6 in this race. And again, tech leader will gain some points, but I don't think it's going to be really enough to really threaten Peaceful towards the end of this championship. It is Gary really who's going to make a threat, I think. Sorry, it is tech leader, sorry. I mean, the gap is 30 points at the minute between him and Peaceful for the final podium position. Can tech leader get that towards the end of this championship? That is the question. But if Peaceful keeps making those silly errors, Tibbs gained a little bit of time on Ripper, but to be honest, I think Ripper is just cruising now just to make it to the end. These guys all just seem to be matching one another. But we go back on board with Gary, who's still trying to find a way past Paulo, but he can't seem to find a way through at this stage. And then Plava really having a bad night tonight. Gary trying to get closer to Paulo, but not quite close enough into turn 1. I'm just putting in the information right now, just so I can see what the championship standings would look like. And Gary's had a big slide. He's had a moment. He's still managing to stay ahead of Smoky Devil at this stage. And he managed to do so. So I'll have a quick run and have a look where everyone is. So Ripper still leading the way with 13.5 minutes left to go. Tibbs still in second, Overtaker in third. He's extended the gap to tech leader. Tibbs has pulled away from Overtaker. Jay is still in fifth. Peaceful is still in sixth. Nexus is seventh. Paulo 8th. Gary 9th. 10th is Smoky Devil. And Empalava at the back of the pack as well. So we'll go on board with your leader. So as it stands, it would be 43 points would be the gap between Overtaker and Ripper going to Mazzano. And right now Ripper is doing everything right. He doesn't need to push too hard. He just needs to bring the car home. Tibbs has really pulled away from Overtaker. Tech leader's not really gaining on Overtaker. There's all just relatively flat at the minute. No one really close to anyone at this stage. Gary is probably the only one closest to a scrap at the minute. As you hear, the pit window has now closed. Gary will jump ahead of Matt, obviously due to Matt not being here. Tibbs will jump ahead of Nexus at this stage as well, so good points for Tibbs at this minute. Smoky Devil will get a little bit closer to Euro. And regarding other positions, that is pretty much all she wrote. Killer Performance will go ahead of Jaeger Motorsport as well. The Flying Potatoes, again, just 20 points behind Killer Performance. And I think there'll only be 4 points behind Jaeger going into the final race. So good points still available for the Flying Potatoes, boys. So Peaceful gaining a little bit more time on Jay, but really it's just 12 minutes now of just spread out racing. Not really much more is going on at the minute until somebody makes a mistake. So we keep an eye out for yellow flags or anything like that. But if you haven't done so, guys, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to be notified, so you don't miss a single thing here at SimPlay Motorsport. And also, if you do want to get involved for next season when we go to the PS5, then head over to the Sim Grid, get yourself signed up. We'll have some practice sessions, some practice lobbies going on in the background as well, so make sure you get involved in that, get involved in the chat as well, as we will be going racing next year onto the PS5. I highly doubt we'll be back on the PS4, but nonetheless, keep an eye on what is going on regarding that. Peaceful has brought the gap down, was 1.8, and it's still 1.8. So Peaceful is catching Jay. Also, while I'm on the subject of talking about the channel, let's talk about our lovely sponsors, Design Manchester and Audio Sport as well, so give them a follow on their social media links and also their YouTube channels or all their fantastic social media links as well, so give them a follow as well. But also regarding the final race, or the final week this week, it will be the GT4s will start the final week off. We head to Italy, we head to Misano for the final race of this season, where 3 championships are still up for grabs. They will go down to the very last race of the season. GT4s will start things off with myself and Fury going at it for the championship. 1 point in favor of myself. Can Fury stop the Camaro from winning the championship, or will the BMW lose out? That is the question. Make sure you tune in on Monday night. Can Tibbs get himself involved once again and stop the championship contenders even getting a win? Jay has a moment through the Schumacher S's, and Peaceful gets a lot closer. Jay is starting to make silly little errors now, and Peaceful can see him struggling. Also, in the background, the the AM category will be finishing their race. That will not be streamed, but there are still 4 drivers up for the championship there. They will have their one and only race. Then Wednesday night, it is down to Pride in the constructors for Dynaco and Greasy Bandit Racing. They're both level 1 points at a minute going into the final race at Misano, who's going to finish second overall. That is the question. Also, we finish the season off in the PS4 League with the pros at Misano for the final race of the season. Overtaker versus Ripper. Ripper can't win the championship tonight, but Overtaker has got to try everything he possibly can to stop him at Misano. Can he do it? That is the question. If I actually get rid of this. Oh. Nope, that's the one I want to get rid of. Yeah, so it'd be 28 points still. Ripper, we need to outscore Overtaker by 28 points to win the championship. Peaceful's lost some time again. Gary was on the back of Paulo and he's lost time again. So all these guys seem to get close to one another, and then they just make a few mistakes. Tibbs has actually lost a bit of time to Overtaker. So Overtaker come back at Tibbs ever so slightly. But once again, Ripper going through the start-finish line once again and extends his gap to Tibbs in second. Tibbs has had a phenomenal race here in these wet conditions. Looked fantastic in pre-season in Kyle Army, and had some bad luck in the midpoint of the season, and it's just not gone his way for the rest of the season. But we're still watching this scrap between Peaceful and Jay. Jay's made a couple of silly little errors. Is this going to give the Honda a chance to get 5th place? That is the question. As Jay still struggling at the minute. He may be starting to get some form of pressure from Peaceful Explosion towards the latter end of this race. But they have literally got to be squeaky clean all the way around. Get your votes in on who you think your driver of the day will be as well. I've just put the poll up, so get your votes on that. As again, the gaps all have just leveled themselves out. There is no real scraps going on. Everyone else seems to be covering. It is really this fight that is your closest fight on track at the minute. But a quick reminder as they come towards the 5.5 minute mark. The last, basically we've got about 3 laps left to go. Ripper is leading from Tibbs in second. Third is Overtaker. Fourth is Tech Leader. Jay is currently in fifth with Peaceful in sixth. Seventh is Nexus. Eighth is Paulo. Ninth is Gary 131. Smoky Devil is 10th. And M Plava has come back into the pits. Has he underfueled himself? That is the question. Get your votes in on who you think your driver of the day is. Overtaker flashing the lights there. And I think he thinks he's going to come back for Tibbs towards the end of this race, but Tibbs looks like he's got him covered. Meanwhile, Paulo has been gaining on Nexus. That is 2 seconds now, the gap. And so far, 4 votes going away of Tibbs. 3 votes, sorry. The other vote going away of Overtaker. So guys, come on, get your votes in. Let's see who you think the driver of the day was. Peaceful. Still 1.7 was the gap, and it's still 1.7 now. So Jay looks like he's got him covered at this stage. Paulo and Gary, though, coming back at Nexus. Good exit there from Paulo. Gary's actually closest to Paulo than he is to Nexus. Smokey's really dropped off the pace. M Plava comes back out. He is a lap down to everyone bar Smoky Devil, who he now goes a lap down to now. So by my calculations and maths, Ripper will do this. It will start another lap, and he'll have 1 more lap after that. So 2 to go. And Jay still looking to just hang in there for P5. Gary's trying to catch Paulo. Paulo's catched Nexus a little bit here. So Nexus having a little moment as Peaceful and Jay still matching one another. Still, most of you reckoning that Tibbs will be a driver of the day. He had a P4 and a P2 at the minute, so good points for himself. Ripper will be points winner of the day. Oh, Paulo's got a little bit wide. That's compromised his line through there. Gary not close enough to capitalise either. So he's going to be kicking himself about that one, because he could have possibly seen Paulo running a little bit wide there. And you can see as well that Jay may have... he found the 10th. I was going to say he's gained a little bit of time, but not a massive amount. But Overtaker slightly brought the gap down to Tibbs, but not really enough to threaten him. 30 seconds is currently the gap between Ripper and Tibbs. He could possibly, if he's feeling... no, because he'll definitely do another lap. I was going to say, if he's feeling brave, he could lift right off and just finish on this lap, but it will be close to Tibbs towards the end. Gary's back on Paulo again. But just as he gets close again, he just makes a silly little error here and there. And then Paulo is able to pull away again. Nexus just seems to be struggling towards the end of this race. Maybe he would have had a better season if he wasn't in Jaguar, but fair play for racing the Jaguar this season. It's not the easiest car to drive, very old car as well. as Ripper goes into the final corner, and he'll start his final lap here at the Nürburgring. Tibbs is still looking good for P2, 3.5. Overtaker has been gaining, but not really enough to really threaten Tibbs here. Tech leader will just have to go for a solid P4. Jay has pulled the gap to Peaceful. Peaceful's lost a second to him last time we checked. So Peaceful not able to really put a threat on Jay. It is now this fight. Nexus versus Paulo versus Gary 131. As they've only got one more lap to survive. Emplava's in the pits again. He's just trying to stay out of the way. Puts his hazards on as well, so he knows that everyone knows that he is a danger. And he's getting right out of the way. Let's overtake her through. But Paulo once again gets a little bit closer to Nexus. As more votes are coming in. One vote to Peaceful Explosion. And he's lost even more time, 4.4 behind Jay now, but he's got quite a hefty gap to Nexus, so that is pretty much P6 secured, unless he has a really big moment. But Paulo is right there. Gary's not quite close enough. Where is Ripper? He's into the back end of the circuit. We'll come to him in a few moments' time. But Paulo, right at the very end, is catching the Jaguar of Nexus. Can he get him right at the end here? McLaren versus Jaguar here. But it is going to be Audi domination. It's been 3 wins in a row for Audi here at the Nürburgring. Daz in Pro-Am, Ripper in the sprint, and also in the feature. Ripper extends his championship lead to 43 points. He wins here at the Nürburgring. Congratulations to Ripper. As we go back to Paulo and Nexus, it is 3 attempts between these two. They are going tooth and nail right to the end of this race. Overtaker found another half a second on Tibbs towards the end, but it's not going to be enough. As they now come into the final sector, Nexus is just hanging in there. Paulo is coming through, but Paulo's run wide and touched the gravel. We go to your P2 man. Tibbs, fantastic drive tonight, best of the rest in the Honda. He will finish in P2 and he'll be very happy with that result. And Overtaker's lost out. Oh no, sorry, that is Emplava in the way. So Overtaker now works his way through and finishes in P3. Tech Leader is going to finish in P4. P5 will go the way of Jay. Peaceful's going to finish in 6th. Paulo's missed his brakes. He's missed his brakes into the final chicane. Peaceful Explosion will cross the line in 6th. Nexus is going to finish in 7th. Did Gary get Paulo on the line? Nexus will finish in 7th. Paulo's gone off. Gary's gone off. But it's going to be Gary who gains the position on Paulo. Paulo's going to drop to 9th, maybe? Yes, he will finish in 9th. Gary 131 will finish in 8th. Paulo will finish in 9th place position. And Smoky Devil will finish in 10th. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, it has been the way of the Audi driver, your champion, taking 2 from 2 here tonight. Overtaker really needs to have a really good Mazzano, and Ripper needs to have the worst Mazzano he has ever had. I've got to make a few adjustments to the standings a minute, because Gary did eventually get ahead of Paulo, so Gary will get P8 and Paulo will get P9 just at the end there. So let's quickly update the tables. But wow, what a final end to that race, and it brings on a dramatic final for us as we head to the final week of the season. And I will just update all this as we do have Overtaker in the chat with us. I will also delete the points that were from this round so we can see an up-to-date version of the championship standings. Before I talk about them, we do have Overtaker in the chat with us. Overtaker, not your best round this week. Obviously, probably the rain didn't help you out, but nonetheless, still scoring the points, still scoring when you need to be. But do you feel like this championship is just slipping away now?
Yeah, I thought I said before when I last spoke to you that if it's raining tonight, then I think it's gonna be very hard for me to keep him behind me. I tried everything race one, but if the driver behind has so much pace, like 2 seconds per lap, then there's pretty much no way I could have held him behind for whole race.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Bentley. It didn't look very good here tonight. Obviously, you're the only Bentley runner here tonight. Was it just struggling with grip? And obviously, like you say, I think it was previous week as well, you said that on the pad, it's very difficult to drive in the wet just because you don't have that extra feel that probably a wheel has that the pad has.
Yeah, Bentley was okay in the corners, but in the traction zones, it's where I lost most of the time. Like you said, yeah, on the pad, it's very hard on the wet, especially with these low temperatures. So when I was accelerating out of the slow speed, and this track is all about slow speed acceleration, I was losing so much time. So no way to keep up with Reaper, and with tips for race 2 for that matter.
Well, I do have some good news for you. I've just updated the tables. I've cleared all the points. And you are Constructors Champion with Fury. So congratulations, you have wrapped up Nürburgring and the Constructors Championship, and you've won the Constructors. So congratulations on that one.
Yeah, Fury was a big help first part of the season. But yeah, we know we didn't have a strong competition this year, so maybe it was easier than it should have been.
Well, yeah, you did have, obviously, Ripper running on his own for Killer Performance, who are currently still second at the minute. And obviously with Matt not turning up to every race for Jaeger as well, it's been a relatively easy season for you. But nonetheless, it is a championship. It is Constructors to your name, considering most of the time you didn't have a Constructor. But forgetting about that, you are champion in that sense. But we do head to Misano for the final race of the season. The good news is, I believe it's dry, from what I last checked. It is dry, and also you're still mathematically in it. You're 43 points behind Ripper. You need basically for him to have a horrid race. Is it just hope and pray and just go all guns blazing for the final race and give everything?
That's the plan, but I think the problem for me this year, and for Ripper as well, is that there are only 10 drivers on the grid, or 11 at max, so it's very hard to have a bad race. I think you need to have an accident into race 1.
Yeah.
Because in race 2, I had 10 seconds of damage with multiple contacts, and I still managed to get P3 at the end. So I think it's going to be hard. Maybe if you have some network troubles or anything, then it's possible. But yeah, I don't care about it. I'm just going to focus on the racing itself and enjoy one last race on PS4.
Well, maybe if I can convince someone to commentate, maybe I can jump in pro and give it a bit of a headache for you lot.
Yeah, that would be nice.
But obviously, one other thing that I want to quickly mention as well, a quick shout out to Tibbs. He split you two. He was probably a bit of a headache for you, obviously losing more points to him, but he seemed to have you covered for most of that race.
No, he wasn't headache. He was a nice surprise because the race was more entertaining for me, because I knew I thought it's gonna be a lonely race for P2, the second one, but Tibbs had massive pace, so congrats to him. It was amazing. I made a couple of mistakes, made contact with tech leader. He crashed into my back, gave me 10 seconds of damage, and there was no way I could recover from that. And I saw lap times by Tibbs, and he was so consistent. He was on 10th or 2 every lap for the whole race, so great drive by him.
Good little racer, but nonetheless, Overtaker, congratulations on the Constructors Championship. If Yuri is listening as well, congratulations on the Constructors as well to him. But it goes to Misano between Overtaker and Ripper. It is down to the wire, 43 points. It's going to be a big mountain for Overtaker to climb, but anything can happen. We might get a full grid, we may not. We will see in a week's time, but it'll be the final week next week. But first things first, we need to get through the PS5 race on Snetterton, which is a night race as well. And I believe it is wet again also on that one. So make sure you tune in on Sunday night to see that one. But it will be finals week next week. It will be Fury versus myself for the GT4s at Mazzano. Then it'll be in closed doors. They're going to finish their season 4 drivers up for the championship on that one. Then it'll be Pro-Am on the Wednesday night. And then it is the final event between Overtaker and Ripper. It is down to Mazzano once again. I've been Dan Davis. This has been SimPlay Motorsport, and Ripper still leading the way. Can he hold on to that number 1 for the final season here at the PS4 version? We shall see you in a few days' time when we head to Snetterton. But from me and everybody here at SimPlay Motorsport, it is a good night.